Every filmmaker has a few horror stories buried somewhere in their memory banks, the kind that still make you cringe even after a few years. I've made plenty of mistakes, but there's two in particular that stick out. One is from a while back, and it's a mistake I'm ashamed to say I've made more than once, and the other is very recent. Highly embarrassing. Excellent. Today's open channel is more of a confession booth. Hopefully I'll find absolution, maybe it'll be cathartic, and best case scenario, you have a much worse story that you're happy to share that puts mine into perspective. I caveat all this with the fact that, of course, contextually, these foibles are actually just mere blips in an otherwise very fortunate path, and that for a hobby, I'm lucky enough to play around in genuinely high-stakes situations where a mistake or the wrong choice could cost me or one of my crew members or the casualty their life. So compared to that, missteps on set don't actually seem too big of a deal, but boy, do they still feel it at the time. Let's start with a classic. A year or two ago, I drove nearly 300 miles to a shoot. Camera, tripod, everything loaded, fueled and planned, only to discover that I'd left the critical tripod plate, Manfrotto 501, at home. The simple piece of metal that creates a secure union between camera and sticks, it was at home. The shoot was in a seaside town, off-season, and we only had access to the talent on a Sunday. Would I be able to rustle up a Manfrotto plate from some sleepy local camera emporium? Would I? I can still feel that hollow, stomach-dropping moment when I realised, inevitably, I ended up building a kind of Shitty Rigs meets MacGyver fix using a bit of silicone matting, I think, and a load of gaffer tape. It worked fine, of course. There's not much tape can't solve, but I wouldn't recommend it as a look. Fast forward to just a couple of months ago, a far more reputationally risky and embarrassing mistake. The client had specifically requested the Nissi Athena primes. Beautiful lenses, sharp, consistent, ultra reliable, unlike me, it turns out, Calamity Jack. I'd cleaned and checked them the night before, ready for the job. But instead of putting them back in the loadout pile, my staging area, I'd left them on the workbench. You can probably see where this is going. The location was about an hour away, and I realised my mistake roughly 20 minutes before arriving, which is arguably worse than discovering it on arrival, because it actually gave me time to wrestle with the bad versus worse dilemma. Do I turn back and be at least an hour and a half late, but bring the correct kit, or push on and arrive on time, actually slightly early, but without the right glass? Normally if I need something like that, I can rely on the good nature of Megan to act as a runner, but she was actually with me assisting on that very shoot, and isn't insured on the truck. Nightmare. Fortunately, all was not lost. I usually keep a lens mounted on the Komodo for transport, something that's actually sparked a bit of criticism before, but it's something that I do and it's within my risk tolerance. In this case, it was the very usable 35mm. So at least I had something, but I was still 4 lenses short of the client's request. And this is the bit that truly stings. I actually had to phone my mum and get her to let herself into my place and talk her through how to identify the right case and then get her to drive them all the way out to location. I think for me, it's a new professional low. She did, of course, save the day. And to be fair, I think she actually quite enjoyed the hero moment, but still not exactly a great look. The client was incredibly gracious about the whole thing. I told them as soon as I realised, which a top tip, always be truthful with your client, but I was braced for the worst. They were totally relaxed about it though. They even said that they'd have been happy if I shot the whole day on the 35mm. Still, I remained mortified. These are the kind of mistakes that stick with you, the ones that end up shaping how you prepare for every shoot afterwards. And I'm even more convinced that filmmaking is mostly just problem solving under pressure. It's putting out fires while trying to keep things looking effortless, right? Given my apparent tendency to leave mission critical items behind, I've had to put systems in place to reduce that specific risk. That means a literal pre-flight checklist. Every item has to be physically checked off before I leave for a job. No relying on my memory, no shortcuts. It's simple, but so far it's worked really well. The process forces me to slow down a little bit and actually visualize each stage of the setup. It's made packing less prone to the introduction of errors, and since I've introduced it, I've not left a single piece of kit at home. That's enough of a confessional from me for one sitting. I'd really love to hear your stories. The forgotten batteries, the lacking media cards, the equipment left on the kitchen table. What's the worst mistake you've made in a shoot, and how did you recover from it, more importantly? Drop it in the comments, and let's see who can top forgetting an entire set of lenses. See you next time.